Hey everyone, Stones here coming at you with another video. I want to show you everything that I bought at the Goodwill Outlet on Monday. I'm still going to the Goodwill Outlet on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm no longer going on Fridays with there being yard sales and garage sales. And I really didn't need to go because I had plenty of stuff from weekend of yard sales and garage sales. But I still like going. I enjoy it. It's a kind of a break from the normal everyday way of doing things, I guess. And I like to stock up. I feel like I need to get stuff just in case I don't find anything next weekend at yard sales and garage sales. So I go to the Goodwill Outlet Mondays and Wednesdays when there are yard sales and garage sales. During the winter, the cooler months, when there's no yard sales or garage sales, I go also on Friday. And I try to get there in time for the 10 and 11 o'clock rotation of our bins. Now, our bins are different from everybody else's. It seems like everyone's operates differently. Our bins rotate every hour on the hour. They do about 2 to 3 rows every hour on the hour. So the whole store gets rotated about twice throughout the whole day is what I'm thinking. So, because they open up at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I try to get there at 10 o'clock, by 10 o'clock, actually 9:30, to give me time to sift through the bins that are scheduled for the next rotation before they're taken away. And I can't tell you how many times I have found great stuff in those bins that were ready to be pushed out of the room and unavailable to us. So anyways, this Monday I spent, on the first rotation, I spent actually over $25. And part of it was because I bought a big bin. I just bought a bin for storage because I had some inventory where the box had collapsed and I needed a sturdy bin to put that stuff in. So that had a little bit of weight to it, but I also spent, some of the stuff is pretty big as well. And then the second rotation I spent $8 after rounding up. So just over $33, which is actually quite high for me. Normally I'm spending under $10 or right around $10 per rotation. And our stuff is $1.39 per pound. That excludes books, glass, and that excludes things that are over 10 pounds. Things that are over 10 pounds are automatically half off. So anyways, let me show you here really quick. And there's some things I want to talk about here really quick as well. This was interesting. I've seen these before and I had a feeling it had value. Now there's some extremely high active listings on eBay right now for, I think, like $50, $40, but there are no solds. I'll have to do some Terapeak research and to see exactly what this sold for, but that's next to nothing in weight. It's a plush. It's supposed to act like a bag of candy hearts from Valentine's Day, and then it's got little plush inside that you can actually pull out. But I think I remember someone or seeing this before where I knew it had some value. Picked up some sealed VHS. If there's a glare, I'm sorry. It's really hot out today. We're actually going through, I know a lot of the country is going through a heat wave. So I want to get this video done as soon as possible because I am sweating. I'm actually collecting sealed Disney VHS, especially clamshell Disney VHS. So these will actually go in my collection. I might have this fun and fancy free one already, but I don't have Incredible Mr. Limpet. The Dark Crystal is not sealed, but that will be going in my collection. I've never seen this case before. I've never seen the clamshell case. I've always seen the slip case, the cardboard slip case. Funny story about Dark Crystal. So when this first came out, and if you haven't watched this movie, I really recommend it, especially if you're like a Star Wars fan or that type of thing. It has a little bit of anime feel. It has a lot of sci-fi feel, a lot of fantasy feel as well. But when this movie finally came out on VHS, and yes, I'm old enough to remember renting VHS and buying VHS, they made a lot of VHS actually didn't come out for sale. Some VHS only came out for rental. And I had a buddy of mine who really, really wanted a copy of this movie on VHS. And very few people had it for rental as well, but our local grocery store did. And my friend actually tried convincing me to rent it and then failed to bring it back and return it. So that I would be charged for the movie or replacement copy of the movie, but he didn't care. He would pay for it because he wanted a copy of it. Now, replacement copy of rental movies were expensive back then, anywhere from like $80 to $200. It was crazy. Anyways, wanted to share that story because every time I see the Dark Crystal, I think of that story. Here's a Play School, vintage Play School flashlight. I've sold these before. Not really worth a whole lot, maybe $10, $15. This one's pretty clean. It also has the manual, which I've never seen before. Now, here's an interesting thing, and I've talked about this before. This is our Goodwill sticker. This is what you see at Goodwill stores. When you go to a normal Goodwill store, this is the sticker that they use. Now, I always said that if all this stuff, now the Goodwill Outlet, if you don't know already, Goodwill Outlet is basically where everything goes to die. It's this type of stuff that it's stuff that supposedly sat at a Goodwill store and after some time didn't sell, so management removed it from their inventory and sent it out to the Goodwill Outlet to be sold by the pound. Now, after many years of going to the Goodwill Outlet, I believe most of the inventory that I pull out of the bins never saw the light of day at a Goodwill store. And here's the reason why. First reason is very few of the items that I pull out of the Goodwill, out of the bins have this sticker. You would think that every item would have this sticker on it. And I don't think employees are being told to remove the stickers because they're very difficult to remove. And why would they spend the time, money, and effort to remove stickers on product that they never got money for, that they already lost money on? So that's my first clue. My second clue is some of the stuff is too hard to believe that it was never ever bought at a Goodwill store, that no one was interested in it, and it just sat there for so long that management finally decided to pull it off the shelves and send it off to the Goodwill Outlet finally. I have found vintage action figures worth tons of money. I have found sealed boxes of Lego. It just doesn't make sense. And then lastly, what you'll see here, like here's a good example. All these were loose toys. These should have been bundled up. If they were being sold at a Goodwill store, they would have put them in a box, a bag most likely. But you find a lot of loose toys, a lot of the same stuff that end up in the bins, so they were definitely together at one time, but they weren't in a bag for some reason, and then it just doesn't make sense. If these actually sat on the shelves at a Goodwill store, they would have been bagged up, and then they would have ended up in the bins in bags as well. So, again, doesn't make sense to me. My theory is, and I've said this before, it's inventory that actually was dropped off and donated to a Goodwill store, but they either got backed up or they didn't have enough manpower to go through the inventory. So occasionally management just says, let's get rid of 10 boxes of stuff. We don't have enough room. We don't have the capacity. So maybe they would open up the box, look what's on top. Oh, it's a bunch of clothes. We don't need that. Shove it over to the Goodwill Outlet, but underneath the clothes were Lego. Underneath the toys, underneath all the CDs were also video games, that type of thing. So anyways, that's my theory. Just wanted to share that really quick. This Blip vintage game by Tomy, I thought it was cool with the box, not really worth a whole lot, maybe $15 on that. I always pick up Happy Meal toys, I've said this before. If they're still sealed in the bag, I sell them by the hundreds. I actually have a listing right now on eBay for 300 sealed Happy Meal toys. And I've sold them that way before. They do sell. Going into some of the valuable stuff. Now, if this Samsung camera would have worked, which I already tested it several times and it does not, this purple version would have sold for at least $75. The only listing that I could find on eBay through Terapeak sold for $75 plus shipping. Unfortunately, it does not. And I don't think there's a market for one that does not work for parts only. I don't know if I've ever talked about these before, but Type 2 blank cassette tapes. I probably talked about it before with the sealed ones that I found, but they have value, they have worth. Type 2 is a higher grade of blank cassette tape, and I've been finding them quite frequently at the Goodwill bins all of a sudden for some reason. Now they're used, and they're not worth as much when they're used, but if I bunch them up, like for example, this Maxwell brand XL2, I actually have a listing for quite a few of these, and I just keep on adding them to the listing, but they have value, and some of these actually are worth, like, one tape can be worth $100. I don't know what brand it is, I don't know what model it is, but I've heard the stories that can be true. This old Tyco RC, Typhoon 2 hovercraft radio control remote has value. $50 is the last time this thing has sold. There's no active no active listings on eBay right now. I'm getting really hot, sorry. And yeah, so, and there's no active listings on it right now, so $50-$60 at least is what I'm thinking. Cool little patch. I'll give that to my buddy. He uses patches. He kind of upscales or updoes clothing, and he likes putting patches on them. He does a lot of tailor work and stuff like that, so I always give those to him. I already showed off these. These are Pixar cars. These are rubber. These are like bath toys is what I saw the listing for them for. For that many, $25, something like that. Here's all the little types of toys I always pick up when I see them. This is the original Imaginext figures. That's what they look like. They were tinier, less detailed. Peppa Pig, of course. There's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. There is a Lego minifig. Magic Towel. Picked that up just because it's new and sealed. Here are some disc golf discs. Some of these can have an incredible value. I think this green one, this green Hornet one, is going to have some value. I'm just going to lot them up and sell them together. Some of these can go for $30, $40, $50 used condition. Maybe I'll throw these up for $50 for the bundle, something like that. These Memorex cassette tapes are still kind of throwing me. I have only found one listing for these. Actually, it was one separate cassette. These are two boxes of 5 magnetic tape cartridges in each one. There was one listing that was put in an auction for one magnetic cartridge. So, and that's the only history I can find. I really don't even know what these are used for. When I looked up their listing, I found a list of things that it's good for. But if they're so rare that they're not even on eBay, who knows what they're actually worth. And I'm probably going to sell them per box, or maybe I might just sell both boxes together. But I'm thinking at least $50 per box. This is some sort of water gadget, and I have to do more research on this. I think it has something to do with like snorkeling or diving or something like that. It's by a company called Zura, and the Zura company is actually in this area. But this looks like an older item. The only Zura water item I have found was similar to this. It was called like a water fin, and it sold for some good value. I think like $40, $50, something like that. And then the last thing that I want to point out is this little thing. I was really shocked. This is a Kittle cologne. So Little Kittle was a doll line that was real popular back in like the 60s and 70s. But this is the Kittle cologne line, and it's got a little doll inside. You can actually take her out by taking the lid off the bottle, and then the bottle opens up and you can take her out. This one in the purple bottle is worth $50 alone. So higher cost for things. Like I said before, I spent like $33, actually more like $34, and Little Kittle is going to get that alone. The golf discs are going to get that alone. The remote control is going to get that alone. So, and I might even be able to get that for the plush. So just wanted to show you off some things that I picked up on Monday. It's now Tuesday, and I've got to get to work. So thanks for watching. Take care, stay cool, and see you soon.